Hey, Dana. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. It's good to hear from you.
What's up, Dana?
Hey, before we start, buddy, I just literally thought of something I wanted to ask you. I don't see any, obviously, because there's only Cyborg in the featherweight division, with Amanda being the champion. What's going to happen with that division? Is there any new possible additions to it?
Yeah, we're going to continue to build onto that division, and obviously, me and I'm sure everybody else wants to see the rematch.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, because even though normally a lot of times in a first round KO, it's like, well, that fight happened quickly, but I think everybody knows that Cyborg, that's not a typical loss for her at all.
Well, not that it's a typical loss. She finally met her match.
Yep.
And, but she's been dominant for so long. Amanda Nunes wants to fight Holly Holm next, and then her next fight will probably be Cyborg again.
Amanda is, I don't know who, I saw her winning, but I didn't see her knocking her out in the first round. I wonder if Cyborg underestimated her power.
Well, I think, listen, there's no doubt about it. Amanda Nunes is the baddest woman ever. There's no doubt about it. She is the GOAT of the women's division.
Yeah, she really is. And also, congratulations, by the way, on re-upping for 7 more years. I hope that has some type of reflection on Matt and I re-upping. Let's I'm hoping that
you're safe. I don't know about Matt.
Oh fuck! I can't do it without him.
I know you love me.
And Dana, can I ask you too? Just another bit of upheaval.
I can't do it without you two. A couple now?
We definitely are. And the bottom is who you think it is. It's me.
Podcast life partners. I got it.
No, I say that now, but if you said, Jim, we're doubling your money and Matt's out, I'd be like, fuck him. I love Matt. 100%. Hey, now listen, we have to ask you too. Also, this whole thing with TJ Dillashaw kind of came as a shock. And do you know anything more about that? And because he literally, I guess they said he tested positive for something that was in performance, in competition, a test, and then he vacates the belt. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they don't announce it because of the HIPAA laws in New York, or I don't know what the deal is, but that's as good as it's going to get until anything else comes out.
Okay, because I'm wondering if it had anything to do with a weight cut, just because of when it was. I mean, I certainly don't think the guy is doing steroids an hour before the fight.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. It's hard to comment on shit.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
You don't know anything.
I just wanted to know. And by the way, how about Anthony Pettis? I mean, look, it's not a shock that he won, because I think he can beat anybody. But I mean, to the second round Superman punch knockout of Wonder Boy. What's next for Pettis?
It is pretty shocking that he won, actually. I mean, if you look at Anthony Pettis, he was ranked number 8 in the lightweight division, and to move up and take on Wonder Boy, who I think when they fought Saturday night was ranked number 3. He had the 2 real tough fights with Woodley. All the people that Thompson has beat, a weight class above him, and for him to win in such spectacular fashion. And Wonder Boy was out. It wasn't like he knocked him down and was hitting it. He was out from that punch. So it was a very impressive win for Anthony Pettis, and really kickstarting his career again. And you know what? Wonder Boy looked really good in the first round and good into that second round. It wasn't like, well, he didn't have, like, you watched the Willis-Blaydes fight, and you're like, yeah, Willis said he froze, but he just didn't look particularly good throughout the fight. But Thompson looked great. Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, there's no doubt in the Willis fight, he couldn't stop the takedown. When he got down, there was nothing he could do when he was on his back. That was whatever. But if you look at the fight with Pettis and Thompson, I love the game plan. I don't know if you guys could see on TV as much as we could there at the arena, but he was busting Stephen Thompson's legs up. Yeah. And, I figured that was the game plan. With that karate stance, the way he bounces up and down, he was able to land leg kicks outside, inside, on both legs, and Thompson would switch up stances, and he was really getting his legs, and then the plan was get him into the later rounds and then slug it out with him, and it worked. I wonder if that was because Thompson threw a kick and put him up against the cage, and then jumped back a little slower than he normally would have, and was not able to get away from that punch, and I wonder if that was partially because he was being kicked, if he lost a little bit of bounce that early. There's no doubt about it. I guarantee you his legs his legs are hurting today. Pettis did a great job of from the very first round starting to attack those legs, and by the time he got the knockout, Wonderboy's legs were pretty busted up.
Now, I want to know, the fight with Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler, I enjoyed the hell out of that until that freaky ending. Are we looking to make a is that going to be a rematch? You talked about putting that together again. Is that going to happen?
That is the fight that I want to do. And, we started working on that stuff. And then we started going in another direction. So either that fight's going to happen or other great fights. I mean, if you look at the welterweight division now, with the addition of Anthony Pettis in it now, I mean, you got Usman, who's the champion. You got Woodley, Wonderboy Thompson, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, RDA, Ben Askren, Darren Till, Lawler, Leon Edwards, Ponzinibbio.
Kevin Lee will be making a debut also.
Kevin Lee is now moving up to welterweight. Exactly. That division is on fire right now. So there's a lot of great matchups to make.
Now, you've addressed this before, but Ben Askren is continuing to say that you refuse to sit down with him because you don't like him. Is that true, or do you have no personal feelings?
It couldn't be more false. It's absolutely not true. I think this guy just wants to battle with me. I don't know what the deal is. I'm always nice to the guy every time I see him. And I have no problems. If I had a problem with Ben Askren, he still wouldn't be in the UFC.
Do you take that stuff personally? Because you seem to be able to bounce back and forth with fighters, and it gets ugly publicly a little bit, and then everything is fine. You don't seem to hold a grudge with that stuff.
I could care less. Back in the old days, I was a little more hardcore than I am today. I'm old and tired, and I ain't fighting with all these fucking guys, man. I'm just, there's this thing. If you're in the UFC, you're going to fight the absolute best. I'll get sideways with guys that don't want to fight people, You're going to fight the best here, period. And if you don't fight them in your next fight, you'll probably fight them 2 fights down the road or whatever it might be. So when we make a fight, take it.
Can you talk about speaking of great fights, can you talk about how fun the fight with Raging Al versus Cowboy is going to be on May 4th?
Yeah, no, I love that fight, and should be fun. Should be fun. How do you see that going, Matt? Not that you're biased or anything.
Hey, listen, I feel I loved when I heard the matchup. I just instantly got excited. Listen, I love watching Cowboy and Raging Al. Obviously I'm usually biased, but I think he's going to do phenomenal.
And also, Dana, what do you think, too? Because a lot of talk had been, which segues into the next question, was Conor and Cowboy. That didn't wind up happening. Did that have anything to do with Conor not wanting to fight as a co-main, or is that not true?
Yeah, no, that was true. That Conor was not going to be a co-main event. And, the timing right now, anyway. We got this fight coming up with Poirier and
Max.
And Matt, let's see how that thing plays out. And a couple other fights that will happen in that division, including Cowboy and Al Iaquinta. And Tony Ferguson hit me up and said he's getting better. So let's see how all this stuff plays out, and then we'll figure out where Conor fits.
And can we ask you, too, has the UFC said that they only want championship fights as the mains, or would they...
Yeah, that's pretty much how we've done it for years. We've done a couple of fights where a championship fight wasn't a main event, and it wasn't very great. Didn't work out very good.
Okay, I was just wondering if he would be the exception to the rule. I was only thinking 3 or 5 rounds. Do people want to see a 5-round Conor fight?
The reality is that, it's not really what we do, but, the media has been telling me they want to see it. The fans have been saying just do it, so we'll see what happens.
Now, you said if the John Jones' 235 title defense against Anthony Smith that you'd love to see him fight Thiago Santos next. Is that something you're still thinking about?
Yes, I would like to do Thiago versus John Jones.
And then, Rumble said that the only way he'd ever want to come out of retirement is to move up to heavyweight and fight Jones. Is there any interest in that whatsoever, or is that just him talking?
I have no idea. He's never said that to me, and I know that John Jones isn't too crazy about moving up to heavyweight. I think he wants to stay at 205. So.
Oh, he does. Okay, I'm surprised. I thought that he said he wanted to move up. Maybe he changed his mind about that.
Yeah, I think that when you look at Jones, right? He's a big guy for the light heavyweight division. The biggest guy he'd fought in his career was Alexander Gustafsson. When you get up into the heavyweight division, man, you got Stipe, Francis, who's a monster.
Yeah.
JDS.
Curtis Blaydes.
Exactly. Curtis Blaydes. Derek Lewis. There's some big boys at heavyweight.
And also, I meant to ask you before, too, because Conor's suspension is up April the 6th. And this whole phone thing in Miami, is this going to impact anything at all or no?
No, that isn't going to affect anything.
Okay. By the way, I love your Instagram, how you went after this fucking asshole on the subway. Isn't it great? Sometimes social media is pretty good.
It's so true. That's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. That little poor old woman sitting on the train and some fucking douchebag goes up and starts beating the shit out of her while other douchebags sit around and watch and scream and film it. Most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is really weird about how, because he was a big guy. I saw his arrest. He's a big dude. And I'm a slight of frame man and would be hesitant to be beaten up on the train. But you think, there's this really weird mentality with people where, as 3 or 4 of us, we could easily tackle this guy, but nobody bands together. Everybody just kind of watches as individuals and watches other people get the shit beat out of them.
Listen, there's one thing about, things happening in front of you and not reacting on time and, not having the balls to jump in.
Sure.
But when you see a guy stomping a little old woman, I would just imagine it has to bring out the fucking animal in anybody, no matter what size. And hopefully when one jumps in, it gives other people the balls to jump in. I can't imagine watching some guy stomp an old woman and just sitting there. That would literally bother me for the rest of my life if I didn't jump in.
Yeah. I see something like that, and I actually wish I was.
I know. Yeah, I know you.
Fucking
he would have just had to say something rude to the old lady, and you would have jumped in.
That's my seat. I would have fucking Kimura that son of a bitch.
See, I'm such a pussy. After he ran off the train, I would have been like, "Where's he going?" I would have acted like I'm going to do something because I can't fight either.
But it's pretty disgusting, man. It's one of the most vile things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was. And it's funny that the social media can be a pain in the ass, but sometimes it really is great because they nail the guy. I get the day later. Yeah. Now, Mike Perry had tweeted something about possibly having an exciting opponent in Fort Lauderdale, April the 27th. Can you add to that?
Who?
Mike Perry.
Mike Perry, yeah, we do have. Let me see if I got that written down here somewhere.
Ooh.
Florida fight.
I love me some Mike Perry.
I do too. He is fun to watch.
He's a character.
Yeah, we're talking about him and Ben Saunders.
Oh shit, man! Ooh. Oh, see, I like that.
That's
Killer B, man. That's a great fight. That's great. Hats off to whoever put that together.
And of course, Masvidal, Leon Edwards. I guess that's got to happen sooner rather than later.
That fight's always going to be there. Masvidal's ranked number 5 right now. Edwards is number 10.
Okay.
So we are working on something for Masvidal and Edwards, but not each other.
Oh, it might be one of those things where they can each afford another fight or so, and that animosity will still be able to push a fight between them a little bit down the road.
Listen, the hatred between those two isn't going anywhere. So when the time is right, we'll make it happen. We're actually talking about Ben Askren versus Masvidal right now.
Oh. I'd watch that.
Yeah, that's a really interesting fight.
Wow. I love that.
And what about Khabib? Is there any update on him, or is he still going to stay out the year?
Yeah, he'll be back in September.
And does that? How do you feel about that? Does that piss you off, or do you kind of understand where he's coming from, or do you think it's just a bad move?
Well, no, it's one of the things with him anyway. He's on suspension, and then he doesn't fight during Ramadan. So
okay,
that puts him at September.
Okay, so there would have been that anyway, without him even saying that.
Right, exactly.
And do you see any more type of cross-promotional stuff? I mean, Mighty Mouse and Askren has worked out fairly well so far, at least for the UFC. Not just with his win over Lawler, but with the whole the name coming over here. Have you guys discussed any more of that type of stuff?
No. Listen, if there's somebody there that we would be interested in, we would always look at that option. But no, there's nothing we're looking at right now. And
there's no type of ever cross-promotional.
The thing was with Askren is that, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. It's what I think is that there wasn't a good relationship there, and he just decided to retire, and they were cool with that. So, when I knew he was available and pretty much they weren't going to use him and he was just going to retire, I said, well, now's probably the perfect time to pick Askren up.
And has Reebok responded to Bryce Mitchell's request for custom camo shorts?
Fun fight.
What did he request?
Custom camo shorts. He wants camo shorts from Reebok after the Arkansas speech he gave in the Octagon.
Oh, I didn't even know that. But I'm pretty sure we can make that happen.
He's straight up.
If I do that, but if we do that for him, everybody's going to be looking for custom something.
Yeah, he's a straight up Tom Sawyer kid, regular Huck Finn. That kid's awesome.
By the way, that's the second time that Matt has done that joke.
I was hoping it would end better this time with Dana.
How could
he probably grew up on Mark Twain and shit.
No, he didn't. He's fucking boxing in Boston. He was reading Mark Twain. No offense.
He's busy.
Jesus Christ, Dana was beating the shit out of people growing up.
We did some Mark Twain in school.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Maybe I'm just speaking about my own lack of education because I dropped out of high school. All right, buddy. Well, listen, thanks for the call. It's always good talk. Oh, the most important bit of business. Have you bought 1,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies from Michelle Watterson's daughter?
Yeah, I did. I bought. They haven't come yet, but check this out. So I bought 1,000 boxes from her, and I posted it, and I got a call from Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins said, "Oh, that's so cool, that story. I love it. I want to buy 1,000 boxes from her too." I said, okay, so I connected them. So he bought 1,000 boxes from her too and invited to fly her down to his entrepreneurial seminar that he's putting on in L.A. And he donated all the cookies back to the local food bank in their hometown. So the guy fucking 10-upped me on this thing.
Dana, I'm not going to attack you because I've been gluten-free, but be honest, you're not fucking doing eating those cookies, are you, buddy?
I'm going to see you on Thursday, buddy.
I was going to say bring some on Thursday. I'll see you at the end of this week.
Now, have you Tony Robert? Have you talked to him at all? Or has he ever done motivational stuff for the UFC?
Oh yeah. He did something with us, and when WME first bought the company, they had a big, big, what do you call it? Retreat, and he came up there and spoke. But I've known him for a while. I spoke at his seminar here in Vegas.
You did
last year.
Now, let me ask you, are you a guy who can be motivated? Because I've interviewed him before. He's a very interesting guy. He has a very powerful presence when he sits down next to you. Now,
and he's massive.
He's he's almost gigantic, what they call it. These giant hands, he's got a giant head. Is he a guy that could motivate you? Is that something that you respond to?
Yeah. So when I was younger, when I was 18 or 19, I used to listen to his stuff.
To motivate you, would listen. You bought the personal power tapes and all that stuff.
Yeah, the personal power. Yeah, and I don't think it's as much motivating as it is common sense. When you listen to the stuff that he says, it all absolutely makes sense. And if you want to get your life in order and get your shit together, he lays out the roadmap for it. It's pretty good.
It's very positive too, Jim.
Yeah, he really is. All right, and I guess last thing is
everybody. The hard part is everybody thinks it's so fucking hard to do this and that. It's really not hard. The hardest part is figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life. That's what most people don't know. People don't know what they love and what they're passionate about, and what it is that they really want to do forever. That's the hardest part of becoming successful.
And it's all, that's very true. And it's also hard once you start on the path. There are times where, like anything else, you have little dips and valleys and mountains. To keep yourself motivated, like when things are okay, I do this now for a living, now what? It's kind of hard sometimes to motivate you once you have what you want, even.
That is true. And plus, not everybody is built to build a fucking company and do the things it takes to do that. Some people want the 9 to 5 weekends and holidays off, and they don't want to deal with any bullshit. They just want a paycheck every week. So there's all different types of people and the way people are built. But if you are that person that wants to work for yourself, you don't want to work for anybody else, and you're really passionate about something, you listen to his personal power stuff. It literally lays out the roadmap on how to do it. It's very, very good stuff.
All right, buddy. Well, it's good talking to you, and always appreciate the call in, and hopefully see you soon. And again, congratulations on the 7 years.
Thanks,
boys. Appreciate it.
All right,
see you
pal.
Thursday, Matt.
See you then, buddy. Thank you. Bring those cookies.
I will.
See you, man.
Later,
Take care.
I want you to subscribe. Subscribe. Hey, I'm not joking about that subscribing, okay?